Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name is Jordan Wills. I head up marketing for BTX Technologies. On the call, we've got Ricky Grassi and Eric Puentes from the marketing team as well. They're here to help organize questions and get the follow-up email ready to go. Any question that we don't answer on today's call will be answered over email. We're going to save the Q&A till the end, and the webinar is being recorded as well, so you will receive a copy of the recording. We also have Chris Poulin on the call. He's our VP of Technology at BTX and resident Huddly tester. He's been spending a lot of time with the Canvas over the last few months. Very excited to have Kayla Payne, Channel Marketing Executive, on the call from Huddly. She helped organize this whole thing. She's also going to be talking a little bit about a brand new product from Huddly at the end of the hour, so you're definitely going to want to stick around for that. And Michael McAdams, Sales Director at Huddly, is with us as well. Thank you both for joining us. So we've been blown away at BTX by what Huddly has been able to accomplish in the camera space. Their IQ camera won the Communication Technology of the Year award at the AV Awards in 2019. And they're now applying their industry-leading AI and elegant design principles to whiteboarding with Huddly Canvas. So Canvas allows a physical whiteboard to be brought into a video meeting with absolute ease and clarity. It now is integrated with Zoom rooms and Microsoft Teams rooms. So we figured now is the perfect time to do a webinar on the subject. And really it's allowing analog whiteboarding to finally serve as an intuitive tool within virtual meetings. But with that, I'd like to go ahead and hand it off to Michael to get us started.
Well, thank you very much, Jordan. I appreciate the introduction. And additionally, I'd like to thank Greg, Chris, and the entire BTX family for letting us join and collaborate with you on today's session. So thank you very much for that. The audience, thank you very much for being here, spending time, and then also your interest in Huddly. I'm looking forward to showing you what we have because it is an innovative technology. The Huddly Canvas is what we all came here to see, but I think it's prudent if we are able to just give you a little background information on who Huddly is and what we do. We were founded in Norway, Oslo, Norway in 2013. Our genesis comes from the Tandberg Corporation, and when Tandberg was bought out by Cisco, a lot of the employees stayed with that transition, and then afterwards, when Cisco was over with, their venture came to Huddly. They have a lot of innovative ideas. We are really a software company. We're a development firm that creates cameras. So all of our cameras are firmware defined. This is the Huddly Go. All of our cameras, like the IQ and something new that's coming out at the end of this presentation, plus this canvas, is all built on this chassis right here. So the Video Valley in Norway is about as esteemed for video conferencing in the history of video conferencing as it gets. So we're really proud of our alignment with being part of a Norwegian company. The canvas is super important right now because there are so many analog whiteboards out there in the marketplace today. And right now, I think this might be the single most impactful product that you bring in your inventory and present to your clients or your end users to use it internally, so that way you can leverage your current existing infrastructure and investment that you have in whiteboards. So this is just a way to augment that and digitalize the content and bring it into the 21st century. The idea of the whiteboard is just to let your ideas flow, to collaborate, to discuss, to have it both in person and over the wire in a hybrid environment, whether it's a school or a university or if it's a corporate training room. Regardless, it can be used anywhere. We even have some end users that in the engineering field, typically they love using whiteboards and they'll mount them at home. And so there's even a home use case for the Huddly whiteboard. It's very compact by design, it's sleek. You can barely see it above the whiteboard in this graphic here. It's centered about 5 inches above the edge of the board. The familiar experience is its biggest advantage. It's intuitive because everybody knows how to use a dry erase board. Dry erase markers have been around forever. Kids love to color and play on it. Adults like to let the ideas and the thoughts flow using it. So they're not going to be encumbered by learning a new technology or being somewhat intimidated by maybe an interactive whiteboard. If they do have interactive whiteboards, then this whiteboard is going to be extremely easy for them to use, and they can mutually exist side by side. This right here is the way most office huddle rooms are set up. You have a conference room table, you've got a presenter IQ like I have right here that's mounted on top of that Sony display. And then off to the left, right-hand corner, you can see the bottom edge of the whiteboard. With the canvas mounted on top. So a 2-room configuration for a huddle room is ideal for collaborative work, but it'll also allow people to walk up to the board and then go back down, walk up, and it gives you that familiar experience of being in the room when you're actually not present. So this technology will actually span space and time. There's a lot going on right now, though. So if you looked at this previous view, here you have a whiteboard. And you can see natural light coming in through the window. It's bouncing off of that whiteboard. It's also bouncing off that Sony display. I think you can even see the silhouette of the photographer in the shadow. But this type of thing that's going on here is all perspective correction. So if you notice, I've got my IQ loaded on the boom of that arm, and it's going down at an angle. If you were to see a raw video feed, you would see it at a bit of a skew. So right away, what we do as soon as we turn on image enhancements is we square it up so that way the participants or anybody that's viewing this over the wire can see it perpendicularly straight on with the best, even better view of some participants in the classroom, just because it's square and perfect. There's a lot going on aside from that too, and I'll go over it in my demonstration with some things that I'd like to show you on image correction and image enhancements, and a lot of very interesting cutting edge technology going through to make the experience for the user as pleasant or as impressive as possible. This is a screen capture of what a diagram looks like going through or projecting through the wire. You see it's that square perpendicular face-on look. It almost looks like a whiteboard backlit display. That's how bright and how contrasting the markers are. And you can also tell by the hue. The hue is brilliant. We're looking at high tones here. These markers could have been maybe a dried out half tone, red, blue, black marker. Makes no difference. Our AI is going to image correct that by increasing hue saturation. So the canvas. We are heavily partnered with Microsoft Teams and also Zoom rooms. We are fully certified with Microsoft Teams rooms. It's something that we're really proud of because we can do a lot of different things with our camera content and a video feed that you wouldn't normally be able to do if you were to just have a raw video feed pointing at a whiteboard and having an instructor or somebody giving a lesson. This is the graphic user interface of Microsoft Teams Rooms. This is the Rooms panel. It's a normal look and feel. On the right, the left margin, you can see the scheduling. You can see the participants within the gallery or whoever's on the call. And in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a content camera button. And all you have to do is select the content camera button, and that will enable the whiteboard enhancements. This is the experience in Teams, Microsoft Teams Rooms. So there's that familiar graphic that you've seen, concept 1 and 2 and 3. You can see that on the left-hand margin, there's the typical Microsoft ribbon. Bottom left-hand corner, you'll be able to see a translucent individual writing on the whiteboard. And that's the way Microsoft Teams handles any type of object that may interfere with the raw data stream or the video capture in the whiteboard. And then, of course, you have a participant in the gallery in the bottom right-hand corner. This is the graphic user interface of Zoom Rooms. It looks like this, very easy to use. I'm going to give you the presentation today in the Zoom Rooms environment. It's as simple as sharing that big green content camera button. right there. And then that will enable the whiteboard and digitalize it. This is your experience. If you notice, that's your normal graphic user interface in a Zoom session. You've got your ribbon at the bottom with all your options, participants in the gallery view, upper right-hand corner. Now for the fun part. How does this all work? So it's a complete solution. It's compact, it's portable, it's packaged correctly. But the best part is when you unpackage it, it's easy to install. I installed mine here in less than maybe 2 hours, including the whiteboard, maybe 3 hours. But my mechanical aptitude is nothing special. I'm not mechanical at all. So I was able to do that. The hardest thing for me to do is punch the hole for the Ethernet up at the top and then down at the bottom. I didn't even have to go that far. I could have just draped it if I wanted to. It's USB connected. So if you see right here, there's our Huddly camera. It's this. On all of our cameras, we have a standard 1/4 inch thread, so that way you can put it on a tripod or a bracket or a mount. You can even 3D print your own brackets if you wanted to. Then it's connected by USB. All of our cameras have this USB port on it. It's a high speed USB 3. And everything, even the firmware is updated through this port. There's no power port or anything on our regular cameras. Now this extender has one power plug and that's it. You notice how there's a little thumb screw right there? This camera is actually mounted upside down on that boom, but we have 180-degree rotation. So whether you mount it underneath a panel or on top of a panel, it makes no difference. The image will rotate 180 degrees. So right now with that thumb screw, we were able to just assemble it, screw it in, pointed it at the whiteboard. This is a 6x4 quartet whiteboard. And then it's just as simple as that. The installation process. So this does mount onto the wall. We provide the mounting bracket. And if you notice right here, there's a very nice mounting bracket, heavy metal, 4 screw holes. We do not include the screws in the kit. That's all dependent upon your wall surface. Not all walls are created equal. So we'll at least give you the bracket. If you notice, there's a couple of flanges on the left and the right edges of the bracket. Those flanges are really important, and by design, it fits perfectly inside the casing of that boom. There's a couple of trenches inside the casing, and it just slides down like that. So just as simple as that. But what it does is it gives you a really nice mount. So right here, this thing is on really solid. It doesn't wiggle. It's very flush to the wall, and it makes me look like a better craftsman than I really am. So this is the complete extender kit. So you have the main base right here. On the other end of the span or the extension, we have this apparatus here. With the main boom, the camera is connected to USB. So this extender is also converting the USB signal into an RJ45. Here I've got regular Ethernet category 6. It's a 25-foot patch cable, but you can go all the way up to 25 meters with it if you'd like. This is on the other end. So the input for RJ45 is going through here. So you have Ethernet in. We also have AC. This is normal in the US. It's 120 volt, but that's the power requirement. Of course, it's pulling a lot less than that. Alternating currents going in, direct currents going out. In addition to that, we have USB going out into the local host. And the packaging. So the packaging, in my opinion, is very elegant. The engineers at Huddly took great care of making sure that everything was form fitted and snug and looks great. In addition to the packaging being or nestling all these different components within the kit, it's going to save it from any type of damage that may occur in shipping under ordinary circumstances. We have here, we have the boom or the extender and the boom going across the bow of the entire box. That large rectangular box is going to be our cable set. And it comes in this box right here. Nice little elegant shipping container. Here's our instructions. Got a lid that's foam based, and it's hard cardboard on top, and everything just mounts nicely. So if you notice right there in your in this graphic, you got the boom going completely across the bow. Then the cables box, that small rectangle is the extender power in. The white box with the lavender H is the Huddly IQ with Canvas software loaded on it. And then right next to that is the 4-screw hole bracket that comes with the Canvas. So elegantly designed, elegantly packaged. The reason why you buy the Canvas is for this right here. This is the whole reason why we have it. If you can just take a look, and I'm gonna be quiet so you guys can relish this. But what you're seeing is that perspective is automatically being changed right up front. Now you're able to see the whiteboard as clear as day. And then you can see how crisp and clean each of these images or the lines and the markings are. So what I'll do now, just share out my Canvas. We'll go to a live demo. Okay, so what I'd like to do is just show you first of all the AI cleanup. Then I'd like to go over the setup, how I actually set it up. I kind of went over it. Then the speed of processing. And then after that, I think that would complete the live demonstration, and we can open it up for questions afterwards. But to start off with, Huddly being made in Norway, we had up to my knowledge, no supply chain interruptions during all of 2020. Everything's manufactured in Norway. We ship to the United States using DHL. As a matter of fact, when I put my first Huddly order in, it was the Friday before Christmas. And I was surprised when Wednesday before Christmas, I got my Huddly box with all my Canvas and demo equipment. And that was during Christmas week. So that was something very extraordinary that I wasn't accustomed to in my past life. The Huddly cleanup that we've got going on here, if you notice, this boom is casting a shadow right here. And that shadow being cast is not being displayed on the whiteboard. The second thing is I have a lot of glare coming in through my natural light, and you can kind of see the glare right here. But you don't see it on the presentation piece. It's pure, clean white with all text and nice crisp lines. Speckles. I've got a lot of speckles here. I can't get rid of them. It's just on there. But you don't even see them. It's just eliminated solely and completely. So that's part of the calibration onto white. The objects, I've got objects in my tray, and you might be able to see them through this feed right here, but I have this box. It's not even being displayed, so it's not a distraction to the participants in the gallery. And also walking in front of the whiteboard, and it's pretty nice because you don't really see an interruption. Now, if I were to interrupt this video stream and get right in front of it, this is the experience that you see in Zoom rooms as opposed to Microsoft Teams rooms. Now, I've been using a Teams rooms bridge for this demonstration. You would have seen a translucent cutout of me, similar to what we showed you in, I think, slide 6 or 7. The setup was simple and easy, like I described. It spans about from the lens to the wall. It spans about 24 inches, so that's really nice. It's because it's taking that wide angle view. If a manufacturer did not have that 150-degree vertical frame of view, they would have to extend that boom out a little bit further in order to capture this board. And the disadvantage would be is if I go and every time I walk in front of the board, you just see that translucent or this ghosted object if they had this type of technology. So I think that's a huge advantage of having a wide angle frame of view for the Huddly Canvas. The boom arm is elegant, it's sleek, it's not an eyesore, it's beautiful, it's minimalistic design, it's sleek and elegant, and it's about as much as I can say about the materials. Now the speed. What I'd like to do now then is kind of just show you how fast and responsive this is. So I'm going to say something in just in a normal tone. Aloha. Aloha BTX. And like that, it appears. There may be only like 1 second of a lag time or a delay. I think that's really significant to make note of. And then I also used red. If I wanted to use like a pastel color, I've got red over here. And then I can say something like that. And immediately it just comes up. The reason why I can do that is because the AI algorithms has the ability to adjust or determine the color hue mathematically or however it's doing it. But the significant piece is if you look right here, these three colors in combination are very difficult to see on any other solution similar or in this area for this function. But here we're able to go red, orange, and pink. And I can see the difference between those three clearly. In addition to that, if you look at this blue and purple, we can distinguish between the two there. And here's an example backing up of red, pink and red. So you can see the distinction there. Now, black and brown, that's awesome. And the reason why is because it knows that that's not a low tone or a faded out black. It knows that's a brown, and it's giving me a deeper saturation. There's more color hue in that brown that you're seeing here than what I'm seeing here on my board. That's almost a lighter brown. So between the AI that's going on here, we have speed. And the reason why we have speed on everything that we're trying to do, and let's time that again. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, A, B, C, D, pretty fast. It's because we're edge processing. We're processing at the edge. We have an Intel Myriad X VPU, and that VPU is doing the machine learning. And when we talk about AI, AI is encompassing a lot of different technologies. But what we're doing is machine learning, and not so much deep learning, but what we're trying to accomplish is the best user experience possible for our clients. The edge processing of the Myriad X is right there. We're not bouncing it to a cloud source somewhere where they're processing the data, bouncing it back in here. It stays all on premise, all this data. So we have a clear security strength. We have a processing speed and efficiency strength. And then it's all going through Ethernet. Sometimes Wi-Fi may be a little sketchy. I don't think you can do this through Wi-Fi, but we have category 6, category 7 Ethernet being patched straight into your local host. So what I wanted to do is hopefully talked about AI cleanup and then the setup and the speed. And that's the live demo. Does anybody have any questions yet?
Michael, that was fantastic. Thank you for running through the deck and the live demo. And yeah, we have plenty of questions here. Why don't I just start at the top? I believe I know the answer to this first question. Someone's asking about chalkboard compatibility. My understanding is this is a whiteboard specific solution. Is that correct?
Okay, yes, it is correct. But one of the things that you'll be able to see with a PowerPoint presentation, it is 100%, it's whiteboard. It's intended for the best user experience on a 6x4 whiteboard. However, it is forgiving in a lot of different ways. But by and large, if you see right here, I mean, that's about as crisp and clean as I think you can get. So I've got an opaque edge here, a light switch, but you don't see it in my feed. So could it feasibly work? Maybe, but that's not
Not what it's designed for. Yeah.
Okay. So with all the AI processing going on, we have image cleanup, MSRP is $14.50. We should charge more. I think it would be a justifiable thing to do, but Huddly is all about mass production, getting these into the hands of end users so that way we can help people communicate around the world more effectively, more positively. And that's why these are reasonably priced. There's no subscription, there's no ongoing costs. So, all right. Whoops. So are there any other questions that you have, or?
Yeah, we've got quite a few here. And just to repeat that, it was MSRP of $14.50.
Oh yes.
Okay, Great. So we have a question around mounting options. Can it be mounted to a standard gang box to hide the wires? Could you speak about mounting a little bit?
Sure. So not necessarily, because if you notice at the top of the boom, the RJ45 is going straight out. So if you wanted to hide the one gang box and then have it go over or be concealed by the boom, it might take some modifications, but that's not the way it's intended.
Yeah. And on that subject, somebody else had asked about articulating the arm, if it can be mounted at different angles. I believe it's intended to be mounted straight out. Is that right?
Correct. Yes, it's a right angle. And then, so with a right angle, the AI is making sure that whatever angle the camera is looking at that flat surface, it's squaring it up. So keep it just like this. You can retrofit and modify anything you want after you buy it, just don't return it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll see.
If I could just pop in here, the camera does have a tilt mechanism right where the 1/4-20 screw is. So if for some reason you need to just tilt it down a little bit, you can do that. So that's it.
Okay. We have some sort of project specific questions that I think are really interesting. We might stump you here, and if so, obviously we're going to research these and get back to everybody, but it's worth a shot, right? So let's talk about a projector environment. Can the live output of Canvas be displayed locally on a projector, sort of as a whiteboard amplifier, quote unquote, in large lecture halls?
No, we have not tried it. I know I've had that question come up several times. The intended use of this is through the whiteboard. It may work, but that's not the way our UX designers design the product.
Okay.
Yeah, Canvas does not have a discrete video output other than the USB. That's it. So if you are working in a multi-display environment where you might put all content on one display and participants on the other display, then you could easily use a distribution amplifier to split that signal off, but that's after it's coming out of the compute device in the room.
Okay. Your answer might already answer this next question, so forgive me, I'm not as technical here, but we have somebody asking for recommendations for integrating into larger room systems that are ready to accept an HDMI signal.
I mean, you could have like a cluster of cameras going at every 6-foot span and maybe somehow have 6 different compute devices, or it's not intended for that. You can be clever. These are fully autonomous systems with all functionality. But then again, 6-foot by 4-foot quartet whiteboard is the intent.
Yeah. Any plans for a white version, or only black for the foreseeable future?
If they buy enough, we probably can make it any color. But yeah, right now it's black only. Black is clean. We wear black.
Right on. So, Michael, you mentioned the importance of software at the core of the product. Are any plans to support multiple cameras that span a 16-foot or longer board? Oh, that sounds intense.
Yeah, so that would be very similar to a couple questions ago where you want to tether or stitch them together so that way you can get more of a panoramic look beyond the 6-foot wide. No plans in the future for that currently. We just launched this product as is. And I think the way it's set up now is beneficial to 95% of the population that needs digitalization.
Yeah, okay. We have some question around codec compatibility. You know, as we mentioned, certification or official relationship with Microsoft Teams rooms and Zoom rooms. Some folks are asking about other codecs. They're also asking about Teams and Zoom, not necessarily in Teams rooms and Zoom rooms. Could you talk about that separation a little bit?
Sure. Currently, at this point in time, the way Zoom has set up their codec and how Microsoft has set up their codec, if you were to plug this Canvas directly into a Microsoft Meet environment and used it as its primary camera and had AI turned on, it won't work. It's because our AI going into Microsoft's, they're not using our entire data stream or our entire API connection, from my understanding. So that's what crashes that. However, with Zoom, like with Zoom Room 5.5, that's some new certifications that we got for compliancy. 5.5 makes Canvas certified for Zoom Rooms. However, if you went to a client, Zoom client, and use that second content camera, it would work at this current time, but not to say Zoom won't change their codec or something outside the ordinary will happen. So for the long haul, for the investment piece, we like to stand our ground and say Microsoft Teams Rooms and Zoom Rooms are the most exceptional user experience, and might as well provide your end users with the best possible quality.
Very well put. Okay, we have some questions around extending. I think you mentioned 25-foot USB cable. For scenarios where the signal needs to be extended longer, is this possible? Could you speak to how it could be done?
Okay, so this is the, it's Huddly camera, but the OEM of the extender is Icron. So it's an Icron Ranger 2.0 extender. In their documentation, it shows that they support up to 100 meters, standard issue for Ethernet. However, we have vetted it at 75 meters. And so all of our testing and compliancy optimization for power and the user experience that we keep emphasizing, it's up to 75 meters, but you can try 100 meters.
Yeah. Okay. Question around the difference between the Canvas camera and the IQ camera. Is it essentially an IQ with different firmware? And if so, is it possible to utilize an existing IQ in a Canvas environment?
So it's the same chassis. This is an IQ right here, and it looks just like the Go and then the Canvas. But the software on the IQ is using Genius framing, and now there's a new AI feature that was uploaded through the new firmware for portrait mode. And that's a ubiquitous type application that you get with devices that have facial recognition. We're not doing any facial recognition. We're not storing any data on the camera or on the app. But this does not have Genius framing. So this has been preloaded with Canvas AI application. So no, you could probably load the IQ on that and have a raw feed, but why would you want to do that? This is a different tool for a different job.
Yeah, very different applications. Okay. So you've sort of spoken on this. I think it's worth repeating. And by the way, everybody on the call, we've got about another 5 minutes or so of Q&A, and then we do want to get to this other product that we're excited to have Kayla talk about. If we don't get to your questions, apologies, we will get to them over email. So as I said, Michael, you sort of talked about this, but due to the frequency with which folks are asking, I think it's maybe worth repeating. 2 questions. Why are we saying that it's Microsoft Teams certified? And the other question is, if the AI cleanup is done on the unit, why does Zoom and Teams handle it differently? So I feel like these both exist in the same area.
So Microsoft Teams Rooms certified, just for clarity. As far as, what was the second part of the question?
Why would Zoom and Teams be handling this stuff differently if so much of the magic is happening on the camera itself? Okay,
so that's for Microsoft and Zoom. Their strategic brains are the ones that said that. However, this is an IQ. With the IQ, we have a SDK that's available. The SDK will allow you to take the raw machine data and integrate it through an API into another application. So what our engineers did was work exclusively with Zoom Rooms to come out with version 5.5. So we're getting the full API stream in there. So another example of how we're fully integrating is, although we don't have facial recognition or anything, we have people counting through here, and it's fully integrated with attendance in Zoom Rooms admin console. All you have to do is set up attendance counting, and then you can see how many participants are in any type of huddle room. However, that's not available on Microsoft. So Microsoft might be a little more guarded. I don't know.
Right. Okay. We had a question, much like the chalkboard question, can it work on a glass whiteboard?
Well, yes, people have been doing it, but it's not intended to. So if there's some slight imperfections, there might need to be some modifications to it. But I mean, it has been done. Just like with that image where it's eliminating my light switch through Zoom. I have a opaque gray. I'm not sure which color gray this is called, but that white. And when you saw the full wide angle, it was all pure white.
All right, we have a question. Can BTX arrange for a demo unit? Yeah, and we have, at the end of this, we'll have, so Ricky G at btx.com. That's the person you're going to want to email. You can also reply to the email that you're all going to receive tomorrow. And we'll have a direct path to the eval unit conversation for separate demos that you might want to set up and any project specific questions.
And likewise, if they have customers that want to see a live demo, they can go through any of the BTX reps. Been working with a lot of them. They schedule me, and then we just link up on the web and I do my thing.
Right on. Okay, and let's pick one more question here. Let's see here. I'm just checking the chat. What issues do you have with Canvas when a whiteboard is mounted to a wall that is not perfectly flat?
Well, I would think maybe you could put a spacer on there, maybe like a 1x4 spacer to give you a nice flush finish. I haven't been put into that situation, but if it's not quite flat, that four screw bracket may not fit flush. However, if there's enough surface area to where that bracket wouldn't wiggle, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work.
Great. Okay, well, we have more questions, and like I said, we'll get those addressed in the next 24 hours over email. Michael, thank you so much for that walkthrough, and now I'd love to hand it off to Kayla to discuss a brand new product from Huddly.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me share my screen. All right, can you guys see that okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, so thanks, Jordan. Oops, sorry, I don't know what's going on there. But anyways, hey guys, my name is Kayla Payne. I am Huddly's channel marketing executive. Very excited to be here today, and thank you all for joining us. Before I get started, great job, Michael. That Canvas presentation and demo was truly amazing. Really exciting product that we have, and definitely tons of opportunity. But I also wanted to just take this last quick 5 minutes to announce our newest product, the Huddly One Work From Anywhere Kit. This just launched a couple weeks ago. This camera and solution is really perfect for the one-person scenario, whether that is for the on-the-run executive, the blogger, or really just anyone working from anywhere these days. This product is truly made for people who value flexibility in their life. Our Work From Anywhere kit is able to transform your home office into a high-end video conference setup. Featuring the Huddly One camera, the Work From Anywhere kit delivers a full HD wide-angle video meeting from both desktop or laptop. This video here really shows the difference between the Huddly One camera versus a built-in camera. The one is 1080p, which is where that higher quality image and video comes into play. And here it is also showcasing the desktop framing feature that we will touch on more in just a little bit. So as most of us know, presentation matters when we're either talking with clients or colleagues, especially now more than ever in this time, but Huddly One really adds to your professional presentation with full HD wide angle video, helping you make a great impression all the time. Huddly One is also USB powered and suitable for desktop and laptop, Mac and PC. The kit includes a travel storage case. It looks just like this, very sturdy, really convenient to have while on the run. It comes with 2 cables, both USB-C and A. It works on all collaboration platforms such as Google Meet, Zoom, Microsoft Teams. Today, Huddly One is certified for Microsoft Teams, and we are currently working on getting Zoom certified as well. So hopefully that'll come in the near future. With portrait lighting, Huddly One really uses AI to understand the lighting conditions in the image. The camera automatically optimizes brightness so that your face is well lit and reactions are clearly visible all the time. I know I briefly mentioned this earlier, but with desktop framing, Huddly One's zoom level has been customized to best suit a one-person home office scenario. However, you can adjust it to suit your personal preference anytime using our Huddly app, where you are able to go in and adjust the zoom, brightness, color, truly be able to set it up however you or however suits you best. And I know that was a lot of information, but I wanted to keep it short and sweet with being the last one. So thank you guys so much again for taking the time today to learn more about Huddly Canvas and the One Work from Anywhere kit. We really appreciate it, and take care and stay safe. And on that note, I'll turn it back over to Jordan.
Kayla, thanks so much. Kayla actually jumped on to present this about an hour before we went live, and has done a great job. Thank you. And Michael's down in Texas dealing with all kinds of craziness and is still here with us. Really appreciate your time as well. And we are a little bit ahead of the hour here. Michael, do you have time for 2 more questions?
Absolutely.
Thank you. We had a couple of questions that were repeats here that we didn't get to, as long as we have the time. So actually, we have one question about the difference between the Go and the One.
Okay.
And then the next question will be about Canvas. But Kayla and Michael, could somebody talk about the difference between Go and One?
Sure. So the Go is a fixed frame of view. It's manual PTZ like the One. However, the Go does not use any type of processing. It's all just wide frame of view. The optics are a little bit different, although they still use CMOS calibration and processors. The resolution is 720 versus 1080. However, over codec, I can put a Go and an IQ next to me, or right here, and toggle between the two. You can't really even see.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Did we cover MSRP for the Huddly One, by the way?
We did not. I apologize, but it is $450 MSRP.
$450. Okay. And let's see. We have a question. We talked about, using Huddly Canvas outside of Microsoft Teams rooms and Zoom rooms. We do have somebody asking, how well do you play with Google Meet?
Well, as a primary content camera in Google Meet, it does work. It doesn't give you 2 feeds. However, it's not intended that way. We don't support it just because something different could happen with Google Meet. There's constant changes, but this camera is fully autonomous with all functionality, but it's not intended for it quite yet.
Right. And we've talked about using a chalkboard and a glass whiteboard. Is it possible to use Canvas on a whiteboard that is being projected on?
I'm not sure, and I think that goes back into a similar question earlier about laser projection or projections. We'll get a lot of those questions. It may work, we just have not tried it. And so I guess the official answer is not supported.
Okay. Chris, maybe that can be our next test. Break out a projector, see what happens.
I got somebody in Lubbock that's going to try to do that too. He said he'd give me some feedback. It's an integrator. Okay.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear what happens there. We're going to continue the testing on our end as well and keep everybody updated. That is it for us for today. Thank you everybody for joining us. And again, Michael and Kayla, thanks for your time. And everybody have a great afternoon.
Great. Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate it.
Bye. Take care. Thank you, guys.